Hey everyone, it's me, Courtney. I'm sitting here with my puzzle. It has become my nightly obsession, and I've got to tell you, when I really get going with it, I can't stop. It's like one more piece, Lord. Like I feel this conviction for bedtime, which it won't help me. I'm drinking some Starbucks, but I get this conviction of, oh my gosh, bedtime is starting. Wait, I've just got to find one more piece. And see, even now that I'm making this video, I'm struggling big time with the urge not to be hunting for pieces. Did I find one? I'd freak out if I did. Nope. Okay, that's all right. Because I have a reason that I'm making this video. Let us begin. So, as I've been doing this puzzle, I think that they have made the puzzle, it's a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle, and I think that they have made it with like a repetitive pattern that they've just, stacked in such a way so that it fills the square. But it's not uncommon to find pieces that seem to be the same size and shape, and I'm kind of looking for any that stand out, but, oh wait. Did I find one? I really like, okay, so maybe not totally. I really like these pieces with the tiny little arms. I love that. But you get the point. Like some of the pieces are very similar. They're very similar in color. And even the more busy pieces can be somewhat complicated. And sometimes I'll put one together. Here, I'll show you. Yeah. So see how these two pieces have the same types of colors. They've got a very similar shape. And if it's on the table, you can see, it looks like a fit. So it locks together nicely. It sits in place. Let me show you what it looks like on the table. It's this one right here. So you can see on the table, like at first glance, it looks like it's a fit. But what really cued me off to it was almost too easy. And if you look at it, I'm going to hold it real close while still trying to look. If you look at it really close, you can see that there are, let me see if I angle it. There's some gaps of light in between the two pieces. And the piece on my left is a little bit, this one right here, it's a little tiny fraction taller and a little tiny fraction shorter than the other piece. So they are not a match, even though they look very similar together and you could just lock them together. But if I leave those pieces together, I'm going to spend so much time hunting for the right piece whenever it's time for each of these pieces to go wherever they need to go to complete the picture. And the reason that I'm talking about this in such great detail is because I feel like as a single who has dreamed and hoped of family, marriage for the bulk of my life, it at times feels as though, oh, I found someone who has, the same framework, they have the same values, on paper, they look good. And then whenever you go to see, does it work with the whole picture? Is it going to get me where I want to go ultimately? It's not a match. And I've had to walk away from some wonderful opportunities lately of people who have a lot of the qualities and the attributes that I would love to find in a spouse, simply because ultimately their goals and my goals, even some values, different aspirations, things like that, are not clicking in the way that they need to for the full picture. Now, I guess the other thing that I've learned through both puzzling and dating, wonder if this one's a match. I would love to get a match while I'm making this video. Just be like, boom, that's how it's done. I did it. Oh, I did it. See, I got 2 whites. Look at this. I got 2 whites. And that's not easy because there's not any picture. I was just going on shape and hue. So they always stick to my elbow. Yes, I got one. So what you have to do before you start your hunt for a spouse is you have to have a full understanding of the full picture so that as you're piecing it together, you not only know who you are, but you know where you're going, because where you're going is going to determine who you become along the way. If you have a general idea of where you are going, who you are is going to change over the course of life, but where you're going can be a fixed point of sorts. And where you're going is also based on core aspects of who you are as a person. For example, I know that I love building businesses. I didn't realize this, and I'm still definitely in the infancy of learning how to create multiple businesses. I'm doing a bunch at once. But through that process, I'm not only shaping my character and who I am, but I have a target in the future. I have many friends who are interested in missions. I have many friends who are interested in art, or who are pursuing government or different interests like this. And because they have a fixed idea of who they are, they know where they're going. And quite frankly, through most of the events that could possibly happen within my life, I believe that core will remain the same. I've been a driven, determined go-getter since childhood. In childhood, I started out like for games. I would plan and I would create lists. So I know that certain aspects are core to who I am. And if you know who you are and if you know where you are going, which is the full picture, and who you are some of the pieces, you can begin to look for compatible matches that create the full picture. Now, one thing that has surprised me as I have been doing this puzzle is both how intricate the pieces are and yet how simplistic they are. I especially discovered this. Here, I'm going to show you when I did the girl's face. See, from afar, the face looks very detailed. It looks very rich, very colorful, but let's see if I can pop one out without destroying the whole, I might be about to destroy the whole puzzle. Let me pop out. I want to get her eye out. Try to get the pin. Oh, can I do it? Oh, I think I can. Do a little surgery on this girl. Okay, here it is. So you saw the face. Now this is a very detailed eye, but I'll pull out this one too. So as an individual piece, this is just one component of a 1,000-piece puzzle. What does that look like to you? And I've already given you the answer, but it's the eye. Here's another one. It's the eye. And if you're looking at this piece among 999 other pieces, it doesn't look like much unless you begin piecing them together. And then suddenly it makes sense. So I think over the course of dating, when you see someone who has different pieces to the picture that you're looking for, the next step is to see, do the pieces lock up and do they make sense to form a compatible image? Or are they just imposters? Am I just hoping that they'll work so that I can move on and put more pieces together? And I'm telling you, you can move on and you can put more pieces together, but it's not going to work out. Take the border, for example. I had a friend help me with the border, and we got to a point where we cannot figure out how these connect, because they don't connect here and they don't connect here. So somewhere within this side of the border, there are pieces that are not a match. And now that they are all strung together, it's a lot more difficult for me to figure out where is the incompatibility within this string, because they weren't tested adequately when the puzzle was being built. So what I am trying to get at is there's a lot of wisdom in taking the time and giving the honor to the process. And there's a lot of wisdom whenever you do see clear-cut compatibilities where you know this is not going to lead me to the ultimate picture. This is not going to lead me to the destination. I don't want to have to spend 50 minutes backtracking. It'll be a lot longer in the course of life. But I don't want to have to spend a significant amount of time undoing all of these pieces to try to figure out why this is not connecting. Where did I go wrong? Because that's how relationships work too. When you come across an incompatibility, eventually you're going to have to go back where that break is within the relationship, and you're going to have to repair it. And when you have the pieces together, and whenever you have formed emotional and physical bonds with someone that cement you and intertwine you into their life, it's a lot harder and it's a lot more painful to go through and do the surgery to take the pieces apart to get back to the place where you are once again building a full picture. It can be done, but it doesn't mean that that is the most wise way. So, after having said all of that, I just wanted to make this video to encourage those of you who are still feeling as though their dreams and desires for a spouse are unmet. For those of you who are still hoping and dreaming and praying and fasting and whatever you may be doing, as you anticipate life within the context of your own family, I just pray the grace to assess the pieces wisely, not just within yourself and within your character and kind of getting that idea for the full picture, but also within whoever you decide to join your life with. I pray that you would have an accurate understanding of who they are, of where they're going, of what they are about, and are they shaped to merge lives together. Now, I don't want to say this and have people think, OMG, there's no hope. It's not a match, blah, 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 because there's a zillion pieces here. There's a zillion parts to you, and there's a zillion parts to different mates, and maybe it's a matter of rearranging those pieces so that they fit. We cannot be so fixed in our identity and in our aim and in how we put the pieces together that we don't move forward. I have organized all of the pieces, if you can tell, by color. And then I've got several baggies that have other pieces that I'll work on once I make more space. I already know I have all the whites and all of the grays out, so there's a lot of matches here that I haven't figured out. Here are busy pieces. Busy pieces are pieces with lots of different colors on each piece. These are greens and purples, so it has a dark purple as the predominant color, and then greens. These are light greens and purples. So it has a predominant color of light green with a secondary color of purple. And then these are greens with hues of whites and grays. So you can see what I'm saying. Like, if you think that the person has the same character and the same base, keep exploring it, keep going after them, pursue their heart, because it might just be a matter of what pieces are you putting together right now. And there's a whole process over the course of time to determine, is this a good fit or not? So that's all I've got tonight. Sorry the video ran longer than I expected, as usual. I hope that you have a wonderful night. I am going to go back to listening to my podcasts on, I've been on a kick of listening to podcasts on physics and the space-time continuum, and quantum physics, which is, it's a form of physics, and it's like straight sci-fi, but it's all real, and that's the cool thing about it. So I've been listening to teachings on physics and space-time and quantum physics. How do you even explain it? I think that, see, I can hear it and I can understand it, but I have not reached the point of understanding where I could explain it in simple terms. From what I gather, it's basically how time, space, gravity, and and consciousness, how they all collide and interact with one another in both balance and harmony. And from what I can tell, it only builds my faith, because today I've been listening to videos on space-time, and what really interests me is the space and time are intermingled out in the galaxy, and really, I think, everywhere. And there's a current, there's like a ripple to it. And I just think about whenever God created the world, how he spoke it into existence. And when we speak, our voice, the reason that you can hear me right now is because the way that my vocal cords move and the way that the air travels out of my body as I speak creates a very specific ripple through the space and with the time, and it enters your ear and it vibrates in your ear. And we have been so creatively created that those vibrations translate to the specific words that I'm speaking, and you understand them. And whenever God spoke the planets and earth and people and animals and the moon and the stars and everything into existence, I just think there's still a wave and there's still a ripple out into the galaxy. Who knows what words have been spoken that continue to ripple through existence. And it moves my heart and it fascinates my mind. And the other thing that I have learned through it, and that's really built my faith, is when I think of that ripple effect, it builds my faith, because you know how God said we are created in his image. And when we speak, our words ripple through the air and they ripple through existence. And God says that our prayers are ever before him. So I'm very touched whenever I think of even those vibrations, because it builds my faith when I pray and when I intercede and when I speak in faith. My words are being carried through space and time, and they sit before the Lord, even in the form of those vibrations. Like it doesn't change the fact that it's amazing just because you understand more about it. And it builds my faith, because I know that it's even more real than if I were just believing it. Like, oh, I'm getting choked up just thinking about it, because of all of the things that I've hoped for and prayed. I mean, not just pertaining to family, but pertaining to healing and salvation and the hopes and dreams for my heart, for my business, for my family, for my health. Like, and they've even done scientific studies where, you know, what you believe and what you speak, there is a correlation to how your body will respond. People who have terminal illnesses or cancer or, you know, different ailments, they have found that there is a correlation between how you speak and how you think and your recovery and the results. And of course, it's not 100%, but I do think that that's amazing still and very encouraging. So our words matter. What we speak matters. The Bible says that out of the mouth flows life and death, the power of life and death, the power to heal, the power to curse, the power to bind, the power to loose. And that means binding and loosing is basically a stop-go in the spiritual sense. And so I'm very encouraged. I encourage you to study science, study topics that you're interested in, and do puzzles. And I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.